Alright, so what you're going to need to buy to make this frame. This is a frame made out of 1/2 inch PVC, and each of these are 20 by 20. So this will fit two 20 by 20 pea pads. So you'll need one of these. Actually, you're going to need how many? Six pieces. And this is pre-cut PVC, and this is 24 inches long. Now if we could see the whole thing, because why? And I bought 7 of them from 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I bought 7 of these from Home Depot, and they delivered them free, which was nice, through 2-day mail, I believe. So they're pre-cut, which is really nice, 24 inches, 1/2 inch. Then you're going to need 4 3-way elbows, also of course 1/2 inch, 4 elbows, 1/2 inch, and then 2 1/2 inch tees, 3-way tees, 2 1/2 inch 3-way tees. Okay, you're also going to need this tape. This is white duct tape. If you're going to use the white, get the white so it looks good. You're going to need the scissors to cut the tape. And I counted out the pieces you're going to need, and it's 18. You're going to need a rubber mallet, which you're going to use to pound in the stakes when you put the tape on, so that they'll stay in your connection points. Okay? Now, if you don't have a rubber mallet, what I've done sometimes is used a regular hammer, and I've put a washcloth that you're not going to use anymore because it's going to be pounded over the top to protect your connection points, to protect the PVC. In addition, what's not here is the end caps. So you want to also add end caps to your list of what you need. And those will be a 1/2 inch or whatever size your PVC is. And it goes on, they go on the bottom. They make a nice finish for your frame. Now, each one of these connection points, the dog I made this for has a leg of about 6 inches. There we go. So it's at 6 inches. So this is about 5.5 inches tall. You want to measure your dog's leg and at the joint so he can step over . You don't want to make this an obstacle. You want to make this something the dog will use, because if you make it an obstacle, he's not going to go in. So the good thing is that these legs that I made, for this dog it worked out really well, because like I said, they come in 24-inch pre-cut size if you want to get them delivered. And I cut 4 inches off each one of these, and by George, I got 6 pieces out of it, and I have 6 connection points, so each 4-inch piece went in there. And when you consider the size of the connection point, you know, it came out to be 5.5 inches tall, which was really handy. So sometimes things work out like that. If they don't, I did get an extra piece. So you can get an extra piece if you need. You might need a couple extra depending on how long your dog's legs are. I don't think they're going to be much longer than this. Now, if you get a dog or have a dog that's like a bulldog, you know, some French bulldogs use pee pads, you're going to probably make these shorter because if they need a frame, they're not going to be able to jump over, and it might be kind of hard for them to step over, but also they're powerful. So you might need to get 3/4 inch or an inch width on these. So instead of 1/2 inch, you're going to get, like, say, an inch of everything. So just know what your dog's strengths are and how high they can walk over, because you don't want to do agility house training. Yeah, because once they start jumping over, then the pee pads are going to shift and all that bad stuff we don't want to have happen. Now, if you're only going to use one pad, you know, if you got a real small dog, you're going to have smaller legs, and you only have to make one square, 20 by 20. So as I said, you're going to have to adjust your measurements for your specific needs and your dog size. But for this one here, his name is Lando, and he was named after a race car driver, which worked really well. They must have had a premonition, because he goes zoom, zoom around. He's a mover. And there are dogs who like to move before they pee or poop, and he does. So he'll zoom around his racetrack. So I made this for him because otherwise he would zoom and then end off on the end here and have his front legs off the pad, and then part of his pee would go onto the floor. So we are training him here to keep his paws in the boundary, so that his pee and poop stays in here too. And it's like training wheels that are going to be lasting forever, because I don't see this not being an ongoing necessity. But it's a good little frame, and it's pretty quick to make. Also, some dogs work well with pee pad trays. He started out well on a pee pad tray, then he decided to take his 2 front feet off, and that's when we had the trouble. Because his 2 front feet came off, his paws were outside the tray boundary, and he was peeing off and onto the floor. So there is one other thing I forgot to mention that you would likely need. I have them on order. This one is made for a client, so it's going to leave when the dog leaves. But I don't have these yet. They're end caps. So you can get end caps to put on the corner at the bottom of all of these Hello. Can we see it? Yeah. On the bottom of all of these legs. So the end caps makes a nice finish. Same thing, you're going to get a 1/2 inch size or whatever size your PVC is. And I would also put tape on those. So if you get the tape and you do it all at once with the end caps too, you're going to need 18 plus 6, 24 pieces of tape. And you're going to tape everything before you start. That way all you have to do is go bing bang boom with your rubber mallet. And you won't have to be interrupted to keep taping in between. It makes it more efficient. So end caps really finish the product nicely. So this might help you. Every dog is different, but if you want to make this, it's very easy. Okay, so once you get your pieces cut and you're putting your frame together and you have it together, you may find out when you pick it up that it easily comes apart. But now I'm going to use some tape. Good old fashioned duct tape. And I put a little piece around this just to see how it would work, and it works really well. So when I cut off a piece, so I cut it off from the width here, it doesn't quite go around the whole piece, but what it does go around, it works, so that's fine with me, because now this won't come off. This is tightly on. Okay, so I'm going to do this piece next. By the way, before I do this piece next, if you want to, once you put it on, you need to make sure that you hammer it in or get it. You could step on it really hard. I use a rubber mallet, and that works really good. So you need rubber, and I usually put it like down here on a platform and bang a couple times and get it in. And I believe, I'm not going to try it because I don't want to take it apart, but when you want to get it apart, you could most likely do the same thing, turn it upside down and bang to get it apart from this tape. Not that you probably will want to, unless you make a mistake. So that's the thing you've got to be careful of, that when you're making your frame, that you have the pieces in correctly so you don't make a mistake. So this is one of the 20-inch. This is a leg. So why the leg is not going to stick out from here. The leg needs to go down. So this would be the end of here. So this piece will go here and this here. So we got one. The leg fell off here, right? So I've got to put this leg on here too. So I'm going to be doing a lot of taping, but I just don't want to have to keep putting it back together again. So this piece I'm going to lay right next to each other so I don't make a mistake. Then I'm going to take a piece of this tape, and you're going to do this for each of your connections. Okay, so just take a piece of tape, take a small piece, right off like that. Of course it's going to twist and probably stick to each other. You can cut it too if you're more tidy than I am. Then I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to, so this is going to go this way. When I make these, by the way, I try to aim so that the black line goes towards the bottom, just because it looks nicer. So this points towards the floor. You see, this black goes towards the floor. So I'm going to take this piece of tape and just, I think I'll put this flat end here, and I'm putting it right around the edge here. Okay, it's nice and snug and tight. And you can see that it has a little bit of a gap, but that's okay because for this one it works. And now, before I bang it in, I'm going to make sure I've got it right. So here, and this piece is going to go down to the ground because this is where the leg is, and this is where the leg's going to be. So now I'm going to shove this piece in here. And then, once I've got it in there, I'm going to take my rubber mallet and bang. You don't want to bang too much, but get it in there tight. See, so now I'm just giving it some gentle pressure, and it's both sides are on here good, because you can see this leg, boop, boop. So this leg, and when I put this leg in, I'm going to aim this for for the center. You can aim the black. I just wouldn't aim it out. Just aim it in so that it's not the piece that sticks out. So I'm going to put this on now. Same thing. I'm going to do another piece of tape. Doesn't have to be, you know, thick. And ta-da! Little piece here. And see, I'm looking for the flatter side, because when you cut, sometimes, and I'm going to put caps on these too. So, all right, I'll just use this side. And I like to put the flatter end on the side here. Let's go around. There we go. Okay, you see? And make sure that you've got it in the right spot. So this is going to go underneath on this side. And I'm going to have the black piece pointing in, so it's not as noticeable. Like that. Okay, so it doesn't slide in very easily. Now I've got to bang it in. Okay, now it's in there tight. Ta-da! Tight here and tight here. So you're going to go through the whole thing and do that same thing on all the connections. That way you're sure that you'll have a frame that's not going to fall apart when you move it around. Making sure that this leg is straight. That's the main thing. I closed one eye to see. So I did more than 12. I think I did 12 and 15. And then this is the last one. Going in, I've got the tape there. Okay. So now, I think I did it. And once you've put everything together, what you find is you'll have a really well put together and that's going to stay together frame, so that when you pick it up, turn it around, nothing comes apart. Everything stays on because you've gone the extra step with the tape and all the things. And it's not going to fall apart. Because I'm going to tell you, if you have one of these that keeps falling apart, it's going to be a pain in your hiney. So you make sure you glue those together. Glue, tape, or screw them together. But that'll make it easy. But if they start falling apart, you're going to get frustrated and just not use them anymore. So make sure you do this extra part, the extra piece of the work, or else all the other work is going to be futile, for nothing, a waste of time. So this extra step makes the difference. Here we go. So here we are. I recorded the whole thing and found out it didn't record, which it's my unlucky. It's just the way life is. But this isn't astrophysics. It's easy. I put the caps on. Did the same thing. I cut 6 pieces of tape. Put one on each top. Then I wrapped it around. And I put these half-inch caps on, which this is what they look like before you put them on, okay? So now they're on top, okay? So now they're on top and they all look great. And when it goes on the floor, there's like a little protective nub on the top. The other thing I did was I pulled off some of the stray tape, which is not much left because I did it all. If you want it to look nice, then you can take off the tape, or some of it. The only thing I did was I made one mistake here, which this cap is on a little crooked, and I'm not sure I can get it off at this point. But I'm going to try. And I think what I might do is get myself a pair of pliers. All right, I'm going to hook this on here. See how easy? This thing worked. And then I'm going to redo this so that it goes on straight instead of lopsided. I think I'm going to have to redo the tape. I'll just turn it upside down because the tape was wonky at the top, and then I can pull it off if I have to. Okay, so now I'm going to what I did was I wanted to make sure that this was the first one I did crooked. So just make sure it's on straight before you start pounding. And then this is on top of a dog crate. So I'm going to hold it up here so it doesn't make too much noise. So the main thing is that this doesn't come off. So all the caps are on, they're stable. Because that's the purpose of all this working with the tape. We just want to make sure all the pieces stick together, okay? So there you go. That is the way to make this frame. All right. So that's what it looks like at the end with the caps on. So there you go.